Hello everyone, hope you all are fine. After some discussion, some explanation on two poems, I thought of discussing the grammar rules once again. Okay, so we are back with our new video that will focus on English grammar rules. All right. See, many a times we get stuck during our conversation thinking, should I use go or goes, is or are, has or have, isn't it? Yes? So this actually will be gone, will be driven away if you understand the rules of subject-verb agreement. Okay, so today we will concentrate on the topic subject verb agreement, which is very vital. Of course, all the rules are very vital as far as conversation in English is concerned. So as I was saying, you can do away with the confusion once you understand some of the very basic rules. Now, to make this simpler, okay, to make this whole confusion much easier, all you have to do is you have to know about the subject verb agreement. And before I get into the main topic, let me just ask you something, that is, hope by now you have all understood what nouns are. You all know what nouns are, right? And those of you who don't know what verbs are, then I'll let you know. Verbs are nothing but the actions done by the nouns, and sometimes, rather all the time, okay, verbs indicate the tense as well. So most of you definitely know what verbs are. For those who don't know what verbs are, I'll just write the thing out. Verbs are the actions done by the nouns, and verbs indicate the tense as well. Now, what do I mean by tense? Tense as in the like when are the actions done? For example, like whether that particular activity had been done in the past, or you do that activity regularly, that is the present tense, or the future tense. Okay, something will be done in the future. Now, and this is where, this is the point where we sometimes get confused. All right? Like, especially with, the present tense or the past tense, like when it comes down to, as I said, when it comes down to the use of the verbs to indicate the tense, things become a little confusing sometimes. As in, you see, suppose you say Sam, okay, you talk about Sam and you want to talk about his activity of going to the market. So how will you say or like see, Sam go to the market or goes to the market. You get confused. Sam write well or writes well, right? Or for example, to make things more confusing, you may come across a sentence like Rob as well as his brother was or were going to school. Right? So, and many more, many more, where you really get confused, where you really don't understand what to say and what not to. So this is again very simple. All right, as I told you, English language or conversation in English just abides by some basic rules, and if you understand the rules, you are done. You are just, sorted out. English will never seem to be something very fearful or an alien language to you anymore. So this is again very simple, as I said. Now the nouns and the verbs get tied up. So see over here, as I said, see, noun, this is the noun in the sentence, this is also a noun in the sentence, and going is my verb, and this is where the verb acts as a tense. Okay, it is used to indicate the tense. So this is where things get confusing. So was or were. So the nouns and the verbs, they get tied up in a special agreement. Okay, they get tied up in a special agreement which we need to remember, right? So now what is this agreement all about? You have to very clearly understand as to which is my subject in the sentence first. In order to understand, in order to learn about this agreement, you first need to clearly understand the subject in the sentence, or in simple words, you have to first understand as to what am I talking about, right? In a particular sentence, there may be more than one nouns, but all the nouns can't be my subject. Like all the nouns can't be the focus of my conversation, right? There should be one noun about which I will be talking at a time, right? So that I have to first be very clearly, I have to be very clear about the noun or the subject. So to say, the subject of my sentence should be very clear before I think about the agreement. All right? For example, if I take the first sentence, Sam, I had a confusion okay, about the tense or about the verb, right? Sam go or goes to the market. So over here, now this is where the rule goes, okay, the first rule. So over here you see, you first clearly understand, see over here there are two nouns, right? Sam is my noun, market is also a noun. But am I talking about both the nouns together? No. I am talking about Sam over here and not market. So Sam is my subject, right? Sam is my subject. Now once the subject has been established, once you know what the subject is or which is my subject, you have to look at the number of the subject, okay? Next comes the number, that is whether singular or plural, right? So over here, just tell me or just think about Sam and think about the number, whether Sam is in singular number or it is in plural form. Yes, you're right, Sam is singular number. We are talking about one single boy whose name is Sam, right? So now we have understood the subject as well as the number of the subject. Now we have to know about the agreement, okay? So the agreement goes like this. The agreement goes like this. Rule number 1. If the subject is in singular number, then the verb, now in books you will find it's written like verb will also be singular. Now again it will be a little confusing. What do you mean by singular? I am explaining the thing more easily, like you can easily identify, you can easily say, you can easily distinguish between go and goes, which to use and which not to. So then the verb is, or rather the verb will always have, now this is again a very, it's my rule. I am teaching the thing to you as I have perceived, as I have comprehended the rule. So verb will always have an S at the end. Doesn't that make the sense more clear? If the subject is in singular number, then the verb that you're going to use will always have an S at the end. So what was my sentence? What was my sentence? Sam dash to the market, and you had to decide between go and goes, right? You had to choose between go and goes. So Sam is in singular number, and what did I say? When the number is in, like when the subject is in singular number, the verb will always have an S at the end. Does the word go have an S at the end? No. So it will not be go, but it will be goes. Sam goes to the market, right? I had also given you a sentence like Sam dash well, and you had to choose between right and writes. So similarly, Sam is in singular number. So since the subject is in singular number, the verb will always have an S at the end. So it will be writes. All right. Now a little more complicated sentence than these, like the list of items dash on the table. Now you have to choose between is or are. So similar, you apply the similar rule. Over here, first you decide which is the subject of my sentence, whether it's list or items. Am I talking about the items or am I talking about the list? Of course, I'm talking about the list that has the names of the items that I need, right? So items is not my priority, items is not my focus. List is the focus, list is what I am talking about. So list is my subject and the number of list is in singular, right? So my subject is in singular number, and so the verb will be a word which has an S at the end, so it will be is on the table and not are. Okay, the list of items is on the table. So this is my rule number 1. Now there will be ample number of sentences which will follow this rule, so you have to understand rule number 1. If the subject is in singular number, that it's the very basic rule, the most simple rule. If the subject is in singular number, the verb will always have an S at the end. Okay, now we go over to the next thing. The next rule number 2. Now what does rule number 2 say? Sometimes you will see that the number of subject is plural, okay? Number of subject is in plural. Of course, it will be just the opposite, and then the verb will not carry an S at the end. Okay, this is rule number 2. If the number of the subject is in plural, then the verb will not carry an S at the end. So how? Let's take this sentence for example. My mother and I. Now over here, though I just want to say something, though it doesn't come under this subject verb agreement, yet I would like to say, whenever you write you talk about few people and you add yourself to that group, like this pronoun I comes, later to the other people of whom you are talking about in the sentence. Over here you're talking about your mother and yourself, so your mother will be placed before yourself. Okay, if you're talking about yourself and your father, then your father will be placed before, like my father and I, my friend and I. Never say I and my friend, I and my father. Okay, so my mother and I, you have to choose between love or loves to bake. So over here, both are my subject, mother and I. Okay, over here no one single person is my subject, but both are my subject together. Okay, I'm talking about both of these people, both my mother and myself. All right, so together, I'm talking of them together. I'm talking about both individually. So the verb will not carry, when the subject will be in plural, the verb will not carry an s at the end, so it will be love and not loves to bake. Okay, now another sentence, the poet and the singer have or has arrived. See, again, we are talking about two people. We are talking about both the poet and the singer separately. So we are talking about two people who have arrived and not has. Okay, since the subject, so both the people are my subject, the poet and the singer, so the number of my subject is in plural. Okay, so since the number of my subject is in plural, the verb will not carry the s at the end. So has, the word has is spelt with an s at the end, so it will not be the answer over here. So I will have to choose the word have, since I'm talking about two people. All right, the poet and the singer, and both of them are my subjects together. Okay, so the poet and the singer have arrived. Now when I talk about this rule number 2, the second rule has got many variations or many types. Okay, when I'm talking about more than one person together, then the verb will follow different rules for different situations. Okay, so this was the very basic rule of sentences where the subject will be in plural. Okay, now there are other rules, other agreements which the verb follows in order to talk about more than one subject. Now how? I'll show you. Here is the twist. Sometimes you will see that two nouns, they get joined by the word and. They get joined by the conjunction and they are regarded as a single object or notion. So the next variation to rule number 2 is sometimes two nouns get joined by the word and okay, for which They are regarded as a single object or notion. In other words, in simpler words, the two nouns, they get joined up and they become one subject. Did you understand? No? I'll explain with the help of an example. Don't you say, what do you say, bread and butter separately, or you say bread and butter together? We say bread and butter, okay? Bread and butter. Yes, of course, both are two separate food items, isn't it? So now you may get confused. Bread and butter are my favorite, or is my favorite breakfast. In this case, what you have to remember is, see, bread and butter, they are getting tied up, they are coming together to form one particular meal, one single food item, one single dish. They are no longer treated as two separate food items, but bread with butter, okay, they are becoming a one single dish. So that's why you say bread and butter. Since the subject is turning into singular number, you always say bread and butter is my favorite breakfast, is my favorite breakfast. Bread and butter is my favorite breakfast. Okay, you have another similar sentence. Fish and rice. Once again, they are two separate food items, but they are coming together to form one single dish. Fish and rice is or are all that I need for lunch. So over here again, you can't have fish separately, and of course you can't have rice at all, just without anything. So you have to definitely add something to your rice to make that, I won't say eatable, but to make it easier for you to have it. So you always add something to rice. Over here you're adding fish. So fish and rice, they are coming together to form one single dish once again, right? And so since my subject is turning into singular number, my verb will have an s at the end, that is. Okay, fish and rice is all that I need for lunch. Clear? So this is the first variation to the second rule. When the two nouns, or when the two subjects are coming together, are getting connected by the conjunction and they are turning into one single subject, the verb will always have an s at the end, like the very first thing that I had told you. Okay? Now over here there is a twist. See, if I say like the poet and singer has or have arrived. Now you will say, what is this? You just told about this sentence a few minutes back, but there is a variation to that sentence in this case. Previously, if you just get back in the video, if you just scroll back, you will see I had written over there the poet and the singer in that sentence, and I have written the poet and singer in this sentence of mine. So what is the difference between the two? Over there, when I had written the before singer, I meant the singer to be a separate individual. That's why I had added the article the before this noun, just as over here. But over here I have not added any article before this noun to denote that the poet, now the person who is a poet is also a singer. So they are the same person, the poet and singer. Had they been two separate individuals, then I would have added an article in front of singer. Since I have not added, so it will denote that the person who is the poet is also a singer. Okay, so that means both the people are same, the poet and singer. Okay, one single person, right? One single person. And since the subject is in singular number, you know what you have to do? You have to choose the verb that has an S at the end, and so it will be has and not have. All right. Now have you understood the few basic rules? Now there are many more rules to this topic, subject verb agreement. Now if you want to learn all the other rules, you will have to stay connected with us for more such videos. I have just discussed few rules in this video. For the next rules, you have to keep watching. Okay, and again, if you have liked this video, please don't forget to click like, and if you think it's helpful, you can share. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do it quickly, and keep watching, keep learning. Thank you.